Hello, I'm happy to join you today for English in 5 minutes. Today we're going to talk about some common phrases with the preposition up. And these are phrases that we use all the time. We call them phrasal verbs because we put a verb in first and then a preposition or an adverb together to create a phrasal verb. And they often become like an idiomatic expression because they often don't translate exactly as what the two words mean. So you may be familiar with a couple: stand up, levantar, blow up, explodir, and give up, desistir, give up. The verb may remain the same, but the meaning can change with the preposition that follows. For example, give up is desistir, but give out is distribuir. You can see how close they are, and so you need to really learn the meaning of these words, and most of them will have to be memorized. So some common phrasal verbs using up, you probably know: stand up, levante. He stood up and left the room. Stood is the past tense of stand. Sit down, sente-se. He came in and sat down. So those are two phrasal verbs. Some common phrasal verbs with up. We just talked about stand up. Wake up is acordar. It's when your eyes open and you stop sleeping. Get up is levantar-se, which is to leave the bed. You get out of the bed and you go somewhere. Look up, olhar para cima. I heard a bird and looked up. Look up at the bird. Look up can also be to find information. I looked up the information in the library. Clean up, I need to clean up the kitchen. It's limpar. So when you've finished the dishes and everything, you've cleaned up the kitchen. Grow up is crescer. I grew up in Brasília. Set up would be criar or planejar. We set up a meeting for 2:30 p.m. Give up is desistir. I have so much to do. I want to give up. And go up to is approach a person. I went up to the woman. So let's see how phrasal verbs work in conversation. A, the kitchen is so dirty. And the B person would say, I'll clean it up for you. Next one, A, where did you grow up? I grew up in João Pessoa. A, when is the meeting? It's set up for 2 this afternoon. And A, where can you get information about the zoo? You can look up information about the zoo on their website. So all of these are the phrasal verbs using up. So practice the phrasal verbs using up. Change the verb to the past tense if needed. For example, the first one here, when the teacher entered the room, the students stood up. So I put the verb here so you'll know which verb to use, but be sure you conjugate them correctly. Stop your video, come back, and we'll look at the answers. All right, I hope that wasn't too hard. Here's the answers. When the teachers entered the room, the students stood up. Remember, stand, past tense is stood. The lights were blinking, so they looked up. Past tense of look is looked. Look up. They were ready to give up after the difficult test. So in this case, you don't need to change the verb to the past tense. That's already taken care of with they were. Marcia grew up in Curitiba. Past tense of grow is grew. I need to get up at 6 a.m. tomorrow to catch the airplane. So get up, leave the bed. I will set my alarm to wake up at 5:45 so I will have time. I called the doctor and set up an appointment. So during the week, I'd like you to practice, make a list of the phrasal verbs using up, and use them during the week. Here they are so you can copy them easily. Thanks for coming. Bye.